Whoa, Nelly, tell Angelina Jolie I'm ready with petroleum jelly to smear it all over me belly. And tell her she can hit me on me mobile, me selly, and meet in the salami section of the grocery deli.
Recently divorced from Eminem for the second time, Kim Mathers sat down exclusively with 2020 to set the record straight on her wild bad girl image and her near 20-year love-hate relationship with Eminem.
I mean, I guess we could talk to each other about anything. I guess that was a big thing in a relationship, but I don't know if he was a good husband or not, really. He's the only husband I've been with, so I can't compare him to anybody else.
What kind of a dad is he?
He's an excellent father. He loves the kids very much. Whenever there's anything, a field trip or anything that has to do with school or any of the activities that she's involved in, you know, he's always right there with her. If there's anything that, you know, if she's upset about something or needs to talk or just needs to be comforted, he's always lending a helping hand. You know, he always wants to be there for her. He's always asking her, you know, trying to stay involved in her life, you know, how she's feeling, how was her day, what's, you know, going on. He was just always there for her. It just seems like ever since he's got, you know, famous, blew up, our relationship went downhill from there, you know. He became arrogant and cocky, and everything that he did for me or the kids, he has to be praised for, you know. And, you know, he's so used to getting so much attention, people praising him for his work, that he expects that when he comes home, and it's not the same. I don't look at him like that, you know. I'm not putting you up on a pedestal. You're not that person to me, you know. And that's what he wants all the time, and it didn't work out. Money's great, yeah, you know, if kids want anything, they can have whatever they want, but it doesn't make your husband stay at home with you or sleep in the same bed with you. And when your husband is famous and always gone and not there, you're basically there alone anyways. So, I mean, money doesn't put somebody in bed next to me to hold on to at night, you know.
Do you think the affairs that you had to do more with the loneliness or in some ways of getting back at him for not being there?
I just really wanted attention and love from somebody, you know. I was lonely and I didn't have very good self-esteem, you know.
But a lot of people have affairs to get back at their lovers.
Well, I'm sure that had something to do with it too. It's probably everything. We both had our moments of infidelity. I can't even count on one hand, you know, both hands how many times he's done it. But I'm not out there, you know, publicly humiliating him and putting all of his faults out there for the whole world to, you know, criticize him over. I was embarrassed. I was humiliated. I cried. You know, I had to make sure that my kids don't hear it. And then I always just wondered what people think of me, you know. You know, it's not a good feeling.
What made you cry?
Just the lyrics and the fact that he is supposed to be the man that loves me and is supposed to protect me, you know, from being hurt. And here he is completely and totally disrespecting me in the worst way possible in front of millions of people. And in front of our kids, my family, my friends. And now it just makes me angry because of what everyone thinks of me and the fact that now I realize, you know, there must not have been much love there, you know, for him to do that. And I wasted so many years thinking there was. I had went with my sister and some friends and had asked him before we went to the show if he was going to perform that song. And he said no. He said no because I know that you're going to be there and I wouldn't do that to you. And I was there in the middle section on the main floor, and sure enough, he decided to do that song and not only perform the song, but use blow-up dolls to reenact like me being choked and just disrespectful things to the blow-up doll, and then threw the doll into the crowd. Like, for him to do that in front of thousands upon thousands of people, knowing that I'm out there and just watching everybody else sing the words and laughing and jumping around in like approval of I couldn't take it. I don't know. That's complete spite. I mean, especially knowing that you're going to be sitting, you know, in the front row right there. And I immediately left after that. You know, I got into a car accident on the way home. I was so upset. And I made it home, and I could not gather my senses. And I went upstairs in my bathroom and I slit my wrist and ended up in the hospital. Especially their father, you know, somebody who is supposed to teach them respect and I don't know. I don't appreciate what he's written in the songs about me. I don't appreciate them being played around our children, and I'm sure it doesn't set a good example for him, especially, you know, letting them believe that it's okay for a man to disrespect you like that in any way is not acceptable to me.
So tell me how you guys got back together. So you said you went into rehab, and you were away from the kids, and at that point, where did the kids end up? How did the kids
The kids were with Marshall, and
he had full custody.
he had, yeah, full custody of the kids.
Did his parenting draw you to him at all?
No.
Did his being responsible, though, while you were away, make you admire him a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I was grateful, you know, I would thank God that he was there, because, you know, I don't know what would have happened to the kids, you know, and yeah, I'm very grateful, you know, and he was very responsible and very loving towards the kids, you know.
And when you got out of rehab, what happened?
I came home from being incarcerated in rehab, and he had asked me to stay a few nights at the house so I could be with the kids, and a few nights turned into a few weeks to a year. So I was home actually 2 years before, I mean, well, a year and a half, almost 2 years before we got married. I was excited, I was happy, but at the same time I thought he was rushing things a little, you know.
Why?
Because usually, I don't know, in our relationship there's a pattern, like we'll have 2 good years and then it will go bad for some reason. It's like a 2-year max with us, and we hadn't reached the 2 years yet, and I just didn't want to rush into anything before the 2 years.
What was the second wedding like?
It was rushed, and I didn't want to get married. He had said pick a date, and I said, well, let's wait a while. And he basically said, you know, you either know now and we can set the date, or you know, you can just take your stuff and go, because if you don't know right now that you still want to be with me, then you're never going to know.
So you got married for the second time.
Yeah.
Lovely candles and flowers.
It was a beautiful wedding.
Describe it for me.
I had the big dress, and all of our family and friends, and the kids read, and they were all beautiful. I mean, he had our kids read at the wedding, you know. It was gorgeous. It was beautiful. I loved it. I loved every minute of it.
But shortly thereafter, things went wrong.
Yeah, he left our home February 25th. He actually physically left the home.
What happened?
There was a disagreement between me and his brother.
About what?
Inappropriate behavior that his brother had, yes, and that's what it was. And then the next morning, there was a note in the bathroom that said, I'm going to the other house, I need to clear my head. I'm still confused about the whole thing.
It's baffling to me.
It's baffling to me, too. He didn't even come around for a month after that. Like, he didn't come see the kids, he wasn't calling me, he didn't return phone calls. I didn't know what the heck was going on. And then his attorney's assistant comes to the door and serves me papers.
Did he break your heart?
Yeah, this time he did.
How did he do that?
Because I feel like he just used me this time. He used me, and he didn't just hurt me this time. He had our kids read at our wedding. And then, 40 days after our marriage, he walked out because of an argument with his brother. We've made it through me being incarcerated, rehabs, different boyfriends and girlfriends, and an argument with his brother was enough to leave. There has to be something else going on. I just don't know what it is. I've never went public with anything personal of his. I was always I didn't want to, because I always thought in the back of my head, I know we're going to get back together, and if I do or say anything, for the world to hear or to know, I was afraid that, he wouldn't be able to forgive me for that, and that we wouldn't be back together. And I always held on to that and never wanted to ruin that.
And now?
Now I know that it was not meant to be, and I don't have feelings for him like that anymore.
In a statement to 2020 released through a spokesperson, Eminem says, "For the sake of our children that we raised together, I have made a decision to not participate in matters such as